This program documents actual homicide investigations. Criminal charges are often dropped or reduced, and all suspects shown are presumed innocent unless proven guilty.
She refused to let her disability define her.
She wanted to master American Sign Language.
She enrolled in the Rhode Island School for the Deaf.
She was able to form friendships.
And she also found a new love.
They shared so much in common.
He was quite the gentleman.
She just falls head over heels for him.
They were the perfect match for each other.
But when she turns up missing, her family fears the worst.
It was out of character for her to not stay in close touch.
Please, you need to help me. Something was wrong.
Evidence leads detectives to another man in her life.
Their communications have been very flirtatious.
Maybe this is a relationship that nobody really knows about.
But the truth is even more vicious than anyone imagined.
It was a bloodbath.
Just the brutality of...
March 1st, 2013. It's Friday morning in Harlem, New York, a trendy Manhattan neighborhood famous for its rich diversity.
Harlem is historically a black neighborhood, and it remains true today.
It has its own culture. Everything from the food to the people to the music playing out of cars. It's a completely different experience.
A lot of immigrants from Spanish-speaking countries like the Dominican Republic have come into Spanish Harlem on the east side.
You can feel a sense of history when you're there.
But today, the mother of one young immigrant feels only worry as she's frantic to find her daughter.
That morning, the NYPD got a call from a woman in the Dominican Republic named Valentina, who said she thinks her daughter Frances is missing.
My name is Valentina.
Frances was a 19-year-old girl who had recently immigrated from the Dominican Republic.
She said she was deaf and has been living in New York for the past few months.
What makes you think she's missing?
She was supposed to be back already.
Valentina tells police that the day before, her daughter had planned to travel home for a visit. But she never showed up.
When's the last time you heard from her?
Yesterday morning. She said she was gonna see us soon.
She tried calling and texting, but wasn't getting any responses from Frances.
Her mother was becoming concerned that she hadn't received any communications from her.
At first, police are hesitant to get involved.
Has she done this type of thing before?
No, never. Never.
The initial response from the NYPD, somewhat understandably, is not to be so concerned because she's an adult.
She could have changed her mind. She could have missed the flight.
But Frances's mother insists they look into it.
It was out of character for her daughter to not stay in close touch, especially with a flight coming so soon.
Mothers have instincts. They know their children.
Please, you need to help me.
Frances' mom knew there was something wrong.
She is convinced that something has happened to Frances.
Growing up in the Dominican Republic, Frances Pellerano always dreamed of seeing the world.
Frances was a girl with a sense of adventure.
She loved meeting new people and seeing new places.
But meeting new people wasn't always easy.
It was really hard for her to learn sign language and just didn't have many people to connect with. But Frances was very determined to not let her disability hold her back.
She wanted to expand and learn more about how to operate in this world.
She decided to come to the States to attend the Rhode Island School for the Deaf.
And when she arrived, it was everything she had dreamed of.
It was like a college campus. She developed community, she developed friends.
She began to thrive. She enjoyed playing on the school's basketball team and soccer team.
And she really honed her skills, her ability to American Sign.
She was able to really start finding herself.
But she was still searching for something more meaningful.
Like many young people, she wanted a boyfriend.
So she looked to the internet for love.
She joined a couple of social media groups for deaf people, and she quickly started to connect with one guy in particular.
She began exchanging messages with a handsome 24-year-old man from New York City named Bismarck Litgow.
Although he was a little bit older, they shared so much in common. He's also Dominican. He's hearing impaired.
Bismarck was able to understand her in a way she never felt understood before. Just fell in love with all of it.
She even extended her trip to the city to meet Bismarck's family.
They actually spend the holidays together.
His grandmother welcomed Frances into the home and made her feel a part of their family.
But as her visit drew to a close, Frances couldn't imagine her future without Bismarck.
She's so smitten by this new boyfriend of hers, and she decides that she doesn't want to go back to Rhode Island.
So he asked her to stay, and Frances agreed.
She knew she found the man that she was going to spend the rest of her life with. So she put her education on hold and made the move to New York.
They were starting their life together.
She wasn't going to let anything get in the way of them being together.
But now, their promising future could be in jeopardy.
Frances's mother.
Not what my daughter usually does. She would definitely reach out to me.
No, you don't understand. She's not here. Something must have happened.
She knew immediately that something was wrong.
Okay, I'm gonna pass this.
Eventually, after much insistence by Ms. Pellerano's mother, the NYPD began an investigation as to her disappearance.
Because she was hearing impaired, law enforcement has said, okay, could this person be in some kind of harm?
But are they already too late? When the report lands on the desk of detectives, they make a chilling realization.
Hey, pull up a copy of that report from last night.
The night before Valentina called in about Frances, police got a report about a body found in the East River.
This body appeared to belong to a young Hispanic woman between the ages of maybe the teens to the early 20s.
She matches Frances's description.
After immigrating from the Dominican Republic, 19-year-old Frances Pellerano was flourishing as a student at the Rhode Island School for the Deaf.
She came to Rhode Island with all the wonders of any young person.
She was able to find the community that she wanted.
She'd also met the man of her dreams, a 24-year-old New Yorker named Bismarck Litgow.
The two instantly connected.
Before long, they were living with each other in New York.
Frances was so happy.
But now, instead of boarding a flight home to visit her family, Frances has mysteriously vanished.
Frances's mother told police she hasn't heard from her, even though she told her mother that she would be flying home.
But before NYPD detectives begin their missing persons investigation, they quickly make a disturbing discovery.
The night before Frances' mom called the police, a body had been found in the East River.
The body that was found was a Hispanic woman, late teens to early 20s, long black hair, thin, and unfortunately, this did match Frances's description.
Could this be Frances Pellerano?
There's only one way to find out.
The NYPD asks Ms. Pellerano's family for photographs that they can use to compare.
However, when they compare the photos, they're back at square one.
As it turned out, it wasn't Frances.
Up, and she said he was worried too. He said as far as he knew, Frances had boarded her flight the day before.
Hoping to confirm Frances's last known whereabouts, detectives track down Bismarck's address and pay him a visit.
This is only going to take a few minutes, ma'am.
They went and they spoke to Bismarck and used an interpreter, and he appeared to be very upset.
Bismarck seemed very concerned about Frances's whereabouts.
So the last time you saw Frances was before her flight?
Yes, she said that she was going home to see her family.
He appears to be generally cooperative and answers their questions.
She didn't call you when she got home?
No, I haven't heard from her since she left.
Bismarck says that everything was fine between the two of them.
When detectives ask where he's been for the last 2 days, Bismarck says he hasn't gone anywhere out of the ordinary.
I work nights and during the days. I'm here.
Can anyone vouch for that?
Yes, my grandmother.
He goes to work, plays video games, goes to bed, and then pretty much repeats the same cycle.
As for the couple's relationship, Bismarck tells detectives that it couldn't have been better.
He let them know that they've been together for a few months and they are happily in love.
He also says he and Frances have big plans for the future.
We've been saving to get our own place.
They had many plans beyond just living with his grandmother. Frances was going to find a job so the two of them could launch out on their own.
He's working full-time. He wanted to be able to take care of her.
We're going to take a look around.
At the end of their conversation, Bismarck agrees to let the detectives have a look around his apartment.
He said he had nothing to hide.
They didn't see anything that looked suspicious.
Excuse me, everything okay?
While detectives were looking around, Bismarck's grandmother approached them. They explained the situation to her, and she was clearly shaken.
But she is able to confirm Bismarck's alibi.
As far as she knew, the only place that he had been besides work was the bodega down the street.
Which means he couldn't be responsible for Frances's disappearance.
Detectives realized that this was a dead end.
Luckily, they don't have to wait long for their next lead.
All right, great.
Police get the results back from the subpoena and were able to go through her phone records. They're just looking for any recent activity.
They didn't spot anything unusual in her messages, but her phone had stopped pinging the same day she had disappeared. And the last place they could locate it was somewhere in Upper Manhattan.
However, detectives make more progress when they shift their focus to Frances's bank accounts.
What they don't see, interestingly, is the purchase of any tickets for flights or for any travel.
He does not want to be found.
What if the flight was just a cover story and Frances was just trying to disappear on purpose?
And she was not doing it alone.
They see from her phone records, Ms. Pellerano was communicating with another man.
They were flirting back and forth.
Things were really heating up between them.
They're wondering maybe he's the reason for her disappearance.
Reported missing. NYPD detectives have learned that the young woman had a new man in her life.
They were reviewing all of the materials received from the subpoenas, and they saw some flirty messages.
They see Ms. Pellerano was communicating with a man named Reggie Taylor.
Her and Reggie were flirting back and forth. Maybe this is a relationship that nobody really knows about yet.
Maybe she has suddenly just decided to go be with him.
This could have been her way of breaking things off with Bismarck.
Now police have to reach out to Reggie Taylor and hopefully he can give them some answers.
After pulling Reggie's address, detectives drive out to Long Island, hoping to find Frances.
Is Frances here?
Frances? No.
He was unfortunately alone and not with Frances.
When was the last time you saw her?
I've never seen her, actually.
He explains they had discussed meeting up sometime, but he had yet to actually meet her.
When detectives break the news that Frances is missing, Reggie seems taken aback.
Missing? What do you mean?
No one's seen her since Thursday.
You know, I think that's the last time I talked to her.
Reggie tells detectives that she never texted him back.
He just thought she changed her mind and was ghosting him.
They consider his response to be genuine.
He also says he has no idea what could have happened to her.
He doesn't know anybody that would have wanted to do anything to her.
Did she ever mention her boyfriend, Bismarck?
Nah, I think I remember she said she had a boyfriend.
But when detectives ask to look inside the house, his answer is surprising.
He declines to let them look around. He tells them that they have to have a warrant.
I know my rights, and you're wasting your time here anyways.
This raises suspicions for police.
Detectives are perturbed by the fact that this person with nothing to hide is not letting them look around for proof.
On top of that, Reggie doesn't provide a very concrete alibi.
He said he hadn't left Long Island in a few days.
Can anyone corroborate that?
No.
At the time that she was missing, he just got off work and spent the rest of his night at home alone.
While it's not the best alibi, they also have nothing to bring him in on. So for now, they just have to take his word for it.
When detectives return to the city, they run a background check on Reggie. And based on the results, they have good reason to be skeptical.
When they looked up Reggie, he had some restraining orders.
They never resulted in any kind of charges. But we're seeing a pattern here. Prior bad acts with other women.
And detectives are confident that when they check Reggie's alibi, it won't hold up.
They move to get cell site location data from the telephone companies to see if they can go back and track Mr. Taylor's movements, see if maybe he was in the same place as Ms. Pellerano during that time period.
However, the fact that Francis was talking to a new man also raises another possibility.
Now investigators are wondering, did Bismarck find out about Reggie?
When they talked to Bismarck, he said they had a great relationship. They were looking forward to their future together.
But detectives won't have to take Bismarck's word for it.
Detectives, this man is here to talk about Francis Pellerano.
Francis's friend, Luther, from the Rhode Island School of the Deaf, traveled to New York and spoke with police.
He explains that he considered Francis Pellerano to be his best friend, that they had been friends at the school in Rhode Island.
They became really close.
Did she ever mention Reggie Taylor?
No, I don't know him.
What about Bismarck Lithgow?
What about Biz? Yes, I know him.
He said he was controlling, he was invasive.
Their relationship was getting out of control.
Luther tells police that Bismarck definitely had something to do with this.
New York City detectives have learned that 19-year-old Francis Pellerano was involved with two men at the time of her disappearance, Bismarck Lithgow and Reggie Taylor.
Both men had told detectives they had nothing to do with her disappearance and didn't know where Francis could be.
But now, Francis's best friend, Luther Ramos, has told detectives that he thinks Bismarck is lying.
Bismarck had made it seem as though everything was perfect, but when Luther spoke to police, he gave a completely different story.
According to Luther, he'd been there for Francis since the beginning of her relationship with Bismarck.
Luther didn't feel comfortable allowing Francis to travel to New York City alone.
When Ms. Pellerano made the decision to go down to New York to meet Bismarck for the first time, Luther went with her.
You met him in person?
Yes. I thought he was an honest man, a good guy.
After meeting him, Luther felt comfortable heading back to Rhode Island while Francis spent the holidays with Bismarck.
He said that he seemed to have good intentions and Francis trusted him.
But Luther also tells detectives he thought they were moving too fast.
He was not in support of her moving to New York City so soon after meeting Bismarck.
They hardly knew each other. I didn't think it was a good idea.
He wanted to vet him out a little bit, but Francis was determined. She was in love.
Luther says he wishes he'd been wrong. But it wasn't long after her move to the city that Francis and Bismarck started having problems.
As the relationship progressed, she started to tell him more about what she was experiencing.
Bismarck wanted to know everywhere she went, what she did, who was she involved with.
She was explaining to him that Bismarck was controlling. Sometimes he was very possessive, even abusive.
Frances felt trapped, and she knew she needed to get out of there.
Luther says he tried to convince her to come back to Rhode Island.
He was advocating for Frances to return to school.
I told her she could move in with me. We can make it work.
Supportive relationship.
And he thought his efforts to persuade Frances were paying off.
Frances told him she was ready to get out of there.
She decided that she would reach out to her family and maybe see if they could send her enough money so she can get back home to Dominican Republic.
I think her mom gave her money.
Based on everything they've just heard, detectives are now even more suspicious of Bismarck.
Now the police have two takes on their relationship that are contradicting one another.
At the same time, Reggie Taylor still isn't cooperating with the investigation. So who's the suspect here?
When Reggie's phone records come in, detectives get their answer.
Reggie's phone showed that he was being truthful. He hadn't been anywhere near the city in the last few days, and there was no evidence that they'd ever met in person.
Which moves Bismarck to the top of their suspect list.
He had an alibi, but it wasn't airtight. He could have snuck out the house and did something to Frances while his grandmother was asleep.
And when they start digging into Bismarck's past, they find even more cause for alarm.
They discover that there is a previous domestic incident report involving a relationship of his in the past with a woman named Diana Figueroa.
They reach out to Diana explaining that they have a missing woman and that they'd like to know if there's possibly any information that she could give.
Diana was more than willing to speak to the police because she knew Bismarck in a way that other people didn't.
When she sits down with detectives, Diana tells a story that sounds eerily familiar.
She explains to them she went online and started looking for a romantic partner there. She did, in fact, discover Bismarck Lithgow.
He seemed like such a sweetheart.
He was quite the gentleman. He would take her on dates.
He was always smiling. He was always interacting with people positively.
But she says Bismarck also had a darker side.
After a while, I started to see the real him.
What do you mean by that?
Diana was very well acquainted with his mood swings.
She said that he would go through her emails. He wouldn't allow her to go out by herself.
What are you doing? What is this? It's me leaving. For good.
She had experienced that to the point where she just couldn't take it anymore.
He started accusing her of cheating on him, and she decided, I'm breaking up with you. I'm finished.
I'm done.
But she says Bismarck wasn't.
He started making threats.
If he wasn't in her life, she wasn't going to be in anybody else's life.
I think he even tried to have me killed.
The PD detectives investigating the disappearance of 19-year-old Frances Pellerano have just received damning information about their prime suspect, Bismarck Lithgow.
Detectives found an ex of Frances's boyfriend, Bismarck, through a domestic violence charge that she had against him, and they brought her in for questioning.
She said they had a very tumultuous and conflicted relationship.
He just was overbearing, overwhelming, and possessive.
It's me leaving. For good. I think he even tried to have me killed.
Diana hears a rumor saying that somebody has a hit out on her.
She didn't think they were serious. That sort of thing just doesn't happen in real life.
Worry didn't come through her until another acquaintance told her the same thing.
At that point, she says she knew it had to be more than a coincidence.
Did you report that to the police?
No. I didn't think anyone would ever believe me.
As precaution, she decided that she was going to move with some family.
She ended up relocating to New Jersey, where Bismarck would not be able to track her down.
She never had any real proof, but due to their relationship and hearing the situation going on with Frances's disappearance, she has no doubt in her mind that Bismarck is involved.
And after hearing Diana's story, detectives are just as convinced.
Bismarck was clearly a dangerous guy. And if Frances was still alive, they were going to have to move fast in order to help her.
Police now find it necessary to find Bismarck and have a second interview with him.
But when they show up at his apartment, their suspect isn't there.
They go to his grandmother's house, and she says that he's not home.
You know where we can find him?
He's in the hospital.
Bismarck had been committed to a psychiatric facility.
Bismarck's grandmother says he'd been acting strange since Frances disappeared.
He just seemed so nervous all of a sudden.
In fact, instead of sleeping in his own room, he wanted to sleep with her.
She thought Bismarck was anxious because Frances was missing.
She just thought maybe he was a bit worried.
I didn't know what to do, and I thought he needed some help.
She took him to the hospital, but when she got there, he said that he was feeling suicidal.
He was admitted there to the psychiatric ward.
The detectives make it their business to get to the hospital as fast as possible.
But when they arrive, detectives don't get the answers they're looking for.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law.
He's asking for a lawyer.
After being read his Miranda rights, he decided that he didn't want to speak unless he had some kind of lawyer present.
That's a huge red flag for detectives.
Maybe he wasn't having suicidal thoughts. Maybe he was suffering from having a guilty conscience.
But without a confession, detectives are no closer to finding Frances.
Bismarck was acting suspicious.
Still, there was no evidence of foul play.
They still don't know what happened to Frances or even if she's still alive.
However, when they pull Bismarck's phone records, they uncover a possible clue.
His phone log looked pretty simple. It was his grandmother, which was explainable, and there was also his boss. And there was only one suspicious activity.
In the days leading up to Frances's disappearance, Bismarck had been texting with a man named Alvin Kane.
Alvin Kane was a known criminal that lived in the same building as Bismarck.
Did Bismarck go after Frances the same way he did Diana?
Was he trying to reach out to Alvin for a hitman?
To find out, detectives bring Alvin in for questioning.
When they talked to him, he said he didn't know anything about a woman named Frances Pellerano.
He seemed reluctant to speak to them. He just didn't want to be involved at all.
This is your chance to tell us what went down.
As detectives press him, Alvin reluctantly comes clean.
As to us, it looks like you were involved in whatever happened to Frances.
As the police expressed to him that Bismarck had already, they believed, carried out a heinous crime, Alvin had no choice.
All right, fine.
He didn't.
Alvin didn't know if Bismarck had a problem with someone or if there was a reason why he felt the need to protect himself.
To detectives, Bismarck's intentions were clear.
Detectives believed that he wanted it to do something to Frances.
It showed that Bismarck had a plan.
And detectives are about to discover that this time he'd followed through.
Detectives received the word that Bismarck's grandmother had just called 911.
What she found was appalling.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It was Frances's dead body.
Individuals checking your phone, checking your emails, following you really denotes a disturbance in them. And with Bismarck, he felt like, listen, this should now be your life. I should be your life. We have to remember the role that rejection plays in cases like this. This relationship was his life. And so he was in a space where her leaving was more than devastation. It was more than the end of a relationship to him. It marked the end of his life.
Detectives searching for 19-year-old Frances Pellerano have just received an urgent call that confirms their fears.
Bismarck's grandmother had just made a frantic call to 911.
They found Frances.
She found the body of Frances in the apartment where the two of them had lived.
And not in the condition they'd hoped.
She was getting laundry from the guest room when she noticed something unusual.
There was a mysterious blue storage drum she'd never seen before.
It was a huge barrel, maybe about a 50-gallon barrel. So she took a look.
Police arrive on the scene and they quickly confirm that it is Frances's body.
Judging by her remains, Bismarck's efforts to obtain a gun hadn't been successful.
They were able to see multiple stab wounds to her body.
It's clear he made little effort to conceal his crime afterwards, too.
Beside the barrel is a bag, and it has bloody sheets, bloody clothes, and what appears to be the murder weapon.
There was a big folding hunting knife that had blood on it.
And on the top bunk, they find their crime scene.
The mattress was soaked with blood.
This was the location of the crime.
After the coroner removes Frances's remains for autopsy, further testing of the room reveals the extent of the brutal crime.
If you use the luminol, even if he tried to use bleach to cover it, the luminol is going to choke any traces of blood.
It was a bloodbath.
Though it had not been immediately obvious to the naked eye, there are a significant amount of blood stains.
It was really unbelievable, just the brutality of it.
So you want to call the mom?
Yes, so.
It's devastating news for Frances's family.
They called out.
And when the DNA results come through, they drive the final nail into Bismarck's coffin.
The DNA on the murder weapon did belong to Bismarck.
Detectives returned to the psych hospital and took Bismarck into custody.
They had everything they needed to charge Bismarck Lithgow with the murder of Frances Pellerano.
When his trial begins on February 4th, 2015, the prosecution paints Bismarck as a jealous man who chose murder over watching his girlfriend walk away.
They believe that Bismarck found out that Frances wanted out of the relationship.
He was determined that she ain't gonna get away like the other one did. He was gonna make sure that he had the last say.
He started looking for a gun. He was formulating a plan.
But prosecutors assert that his plan was interrupted.
He found the money and figured out Frances was trying to get back to the Dominican Republic. He felt like he was running out of time.
So he acted quickly.
That night, after his grandmother went to sleep, Bismarck confronted Frances.
She told Bismarck that she was going home.
That caused him to fly into a rage.
He really becomes aggressive and has that mentality that if I can't have you, no one's gonna have you. He didn't think, he acted in a rage.
He was intent on ensuring that Frances felt the pain that he was feeling inside.
Frances was stabbed over 38 times with a fatal stab wound right in the heart.
With every stab, he remembered the betrayal. How dare Frances want to leave him?
Then, once she was dead, Bismarck tried to hide what he'd done.
He had cleaned up the room and hid her body in a plastic drum that he found in the complex's basement.
Every day he thought about, what am I going to do with this?
When Bismarck's attorneys present his side to the court, it's less of a defense and more of an excuse.
The defense is what's called extreme emotional disturbance. And it is kind of when something happens to you that's so traumatic, so upsetting that you essentially lose control of yourself and you do something that you wouldn't normally do.
However, when the jury renders its verdict, it's clear there's no doubt about Bismarck's guilt.
They only took about an hour and a half, and collectively they agreed that Bismarck was guilty of second-degree murder.
The judge sentenced him to 21 years to life in prison for destroying the lives of Frances's family and for taking away the life of dear Frances.
But no amount of punishment can make up for the fact that Frances Pellerano's life ended in tragedy before it ever really began.
It's a shame that this young girl who had everything in front of her had her life cut short by a very short relationship.
Frances didn't deserve what happened to her. No one deserves that.
It's not easy to do. There's a lot of strings attached.
This program documents actual homicide investigations. Criminal charges are often dropped or reduced, and all suspects shown are presumed innocent unless proven guilty.
Go hard. He was trying to make a life for his entire family.
And after 12 hard years, he'd done it.
He owns this shop. He's making money.
Everything looks like it's going pretty well.
His world is complete.
Until it all came crashing down.
There's a trail of blood leading to the back.
He had been stabbed numerous times.
This was an up-close killing.
It was pretty heinous, blood everywhere.
Was it simply a robbery gone wrong?
The place looked ransacked.
Cash was taken out of the cash register. Approximately $2,000.
Or was it an act of betrayal?
The knife wounds show clear aggression.
There was some anger and emotion behind this murder.
Somebody had a score to settle.
It's noon in the nation's capital, a bustling city of 600,000.
DC is probably one of the most diverse places in the country.
It's a city where people from all walks of life, all ethnicities come to realize and fulfill their dreams.
DC offers the perfect intersection of diversity and economic opportunity for immigrants or foreign-born individuals.
People like Rizwan Rana, a Pakistani immigrant who operates a 24-hour pizza place in DC's Edgewood neighborhood with his brother, Shahabuddin.
It's a family business, and they split the shifts. One worked 12 hours at night, one worked 12 hours on a day.
Rizwan is working the day shift. But when he shows up at the shop to take over from his brother, something seems off.
He can't get in. The door is locked.
He finds that really strange and unusual for his brother to lock the doors during the highest peak of the day.
Sean, it's me. Open up.
His brother had the only key, so he was knocking.
He looks inside, he sees nothing.
He also tries calling his brother's cell phone.
And that's when he really starts to worry.
He can hear the cell phone ringing on the other side of their door.
Shaw, is everything okay?
Originally from Pakistan, Shahabuddin Rana immigrated to the United States in 1997.
Shahabuddin came to the United States with a dream to own his own business.
He wants to be a successful guy, and coming to DC was the perfect opportunity for him.
But his dream came at a cost.
Back in Pakistan, he left his daughter. Goal was to establish himself and then slowly but surely bring family members over one by one.
Once in the States, Shahabuddin quickly found work in Washington, D.C.'s bustling restaurant industry.
He starts grinding really hard, learning everything he can learn.
He worked smaller jobs as he accumulated his funds.
One of those jobs brought him to the Pizza Mart, a takeout restaurant and convenience store in D.C.'s Edgewood neighborhood.
The Pizza Mart was a place where residents could go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A quarter store, if you will, that the neighborhood relied on.
To the community, it was simply a convenient place to buy milk or pick up a quick meal. But Shahabuddin saw opportunity.
Shahabuddin had a great business acumen.
He realizes this is how he can make a business for himself.
He worked his way up from employee to manager.
And after a couple of years being very successful with it, he was able to buy the Pizza Mart.
He also fell in love with a woman and asked her to marry him.
Now he is really living that American immigrant dream.
And in 2002, he's able to bring his 11-year-old daughter here to the United States.
Shah's brother Rizwan followed in 2006.
He wanted to bring someone into the business who he can fully trust. And he was very close to his brother, so he decided to sponsor his brother to come over.
Now you have Rizwan also living the American dream. The family business is thriving.
And by 2008, the family was growing too.
As Rizwan is working in this pizza shop, this young woman catches his eye.
Her name was Shanika Robinson.
Shanika grew up in this neighborhood.
Shanika Robinson was working at the post office, actually not too far from the Pizza Mart. She was a frequent customer.
Rizwan really thought she was cute.
There you go.
Thank you.
How's everything today?
Wonderful, as always.
Great.
Not only is she attractive, but she's very sweet.
He develops some feelings towards her.
They flirted her now and again.
Maybe you should ask her out. You think so? Think about it. You should.
Rizwan eventually took his brother's advice, and a whirlwind romance followed.
After a couple of months, the two tied the knot. They're a cute couple.
Shahabuddin is proud of his younger brother. He's flourishing out here in the DC area. He has a wife now, and now everything looks like it's going pretty well for the family.
But now, Rizwan has shown up at lunch hour and found the door to the Pizza Mart locked.
His brother's inside, but he's not answering the door or his phone.
He can hear a phone ringing.
Shaw! Is everything okay?
At this point, Rizwan is concerned enough that he flags down a DC police officer to assist.
Rizwan tells him the whole story. Look, my brother is inside. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be inside. Typically, he's inside, but for some reason, this door is locked.
The officer also tried to knock. He continued to tell Rizwan to call.
But there was still no response.
Which meant there was only one thing left to do.
The officer then forced entry.
Once inside, it's apparent the police have a crime scene on their hands.
The place looked ransacked.
There's been a robbery, or worse.
There's a trail of blood leading to the back.
The officer followed the blood to this back area.
And when he enters the storeroom, It appears that Shahabuddin Rana's American dream has come to a tragic end.
There is a man's body face down in a pool of blood.
Mr. Rana wanted to be in the restaurant industry, so he worked, saved enough money, and then purchased the restaurant.
He was able to bring his daughter up from Pakistan over to the United States, and he also ended up bringing his brother over.
It's literally like the American dream, almost from start to finish.
But now, after forcing entry into the Pizza Mart, DC police have just found a man lying dead in the back room of the restaurant.
Rizwan comes into the room and immediately identifies that as his brother.
The officer forces Shah's brother outside and radios for backup.
He saw blood. He saw things were in disarray. It was a homicide scene.
Dispatch.
When homicide detectives arrive, it's clear to them that someone came into the shop and attacked Shah in the main room.
It was blood everywhere. Things were just thrown all over the place.
That indicates that Shahabuddin certainly trying to fight off whoever was attacking him.
The fight then moved to the storeroom.
Shahabuddin retreats to the back, trying to barricade himself in, trying to save his life.
But there had been no stopping the killer.
The victim was stabbed multiple times.
Not only did he have stab wounds, but he had blunt force trauma to the head.
Then, with Shahabuddin dead, it appears the killer tried to destroy the evidence.
You did have burned skin on the upper back area, suggesting that these individuals also intended to burn the victim to cover up their crime.
But the attempted cover-up had failed.
There was a flammable liquid used. A match is lit. It basically flares up and burns a bit and then goes out.
You just can't light a match and throw it on the body.
The attack also left tremendous amounts of blood evidence behind.
Given the violence of the attack and the fact that Shah fought back, there's always a chance that some of the blood could be the killer's.
In knife attacks, it's not unheard of for the assailant to accidentally cut themselves during the struggle.
In addition to the blood, CSI also collects a mass of fingerprint evidence.
Over 100 fingerprints were collected by the evidence technicians.
You have infinite number of suspects because it was a heavily traveled crime scene.
And there are no security cameras in the store to help detectives identify a suspect.
Based on the evidence, detectives theorize murdering Shah might not have been the killer's objective.
Cigarettes were missing, cigars were missing, various items were taken off shelves. They also realized cash was taken out of the cash register.
Approximately $2,000 were missing.
Leaving CSI to finish processing the shop, detectives take Rizwan down to the precinct for a formal statement.
Now, I know that this is tough, but if you could just walk us through what happened from the beginning.
When did you first realize something was wrong?
When I went in this morning and the door was locked.
He normally reports in the morning time, around 8 o'clock a.m.
But he says that when he got there, the door was locked.
His brother had the only key, so when he got there and he realized the door was locked, he was just confused.
He didn't call the police immediately.
Okay, then what did you do?
I went home.
Instead of him calling the police right away, he waited in case his brother may have stepped out or left or something like that.
When I got home, I called his wife.
He contacted his brother's wife. She hasn't heard from him.
There was a decision made between Rizwan and his sister-in-law that they would give it some time and wait and see if his brother either shows up at home or calls.
But Rizwan said that when lunchtime rolled around without any word from Shah, he knew something must have been wrong.
Roughly 4 hours later, Rizwan goes back to the Pizza Mart. It's still locked up.
Shah, is everything okay?
At this point in time, Rizwan is concerned enough that he flags down a DC police officer to assist.
Rizwan's story seems to fit with the detective's first impressions from the scene.
It appears what we have is a robbery gone bad that turned into a homicide.
However, there was one glaring problem with that scenario.
I just don't understand how they got inside.
This particular restaurant is heavily secured.
At night, the main shop isn't open. They serve the pizza through a walk-up window.
There's only a small opening for whoever's manning the counter to pass the food through.
Knowing how fortified the restaurant is, how did someone seemingly penetrate this restaurant?
There's just no sign anywhere that anyone was forcibly entering this place.
More than likely, he opened the door for someone he knew.
That Shahabuddin Rana's brutal murder wasn't just a robbery gone horribly wrong.
The door is always secure at night.
After hours, they usually serve pizza through the sliding windows, which is bulletproof.
You can't get all the way in. Someone has to let you in. A routine robbery would mean that somebody had forced their way in, and there's just no sign anywhere that anyone was forcibly entering this place.
That indicates that this was more of an inside job.
The violent nature of the attack also points to an ulterior motive.
If it was a robbery, you could just beat the person up, take the money, and leave.
There was some anger and some passion and emotion behind this murder.
There were so many cuts. We're talking over a dozen cuts and stab wounds.
With a stabbing, you feel the person on the other end of your knife. With beating, you feel the life go out of them.
Somebody had a score to settle with Shahabuddin. Somebody really wanted him dead.
But who? There's one person the detectives will definitely need to rule out.
Many times it's the people closest to the victim. So in this case, Rizwan became a big suspect.
He admitted he'd been to the shop earlier that morning, but supposedly couldn't get in.
By all accounts, the door being locked at that time was super abnormal. And so you would think, why didn't he call the police? Why didn't he try to get in then? It's a concern at 12 o'clock that made you flag down the police. Why wasn't it at 8?
Maybe there was a sibling rivalry.
There may have also been a financial motive.
Greed is something that motivates most crimes. And who would have stood to profit really from Shahabuddin's murder? Well, Rizwan potentially could have gotten the whole business.
Hoping to determine if there was bad blood between the brothers, the detectives reach out to Shahabuddin's wife.
She confirms that Rizwan is the only other person who works that late night shift at the pizza shop.
But she also says that Rizwan is the one who normally works nights.
Rizwan was supposed to be working that night, but his brother had taken that shift instead.
That throws up some red flags for investigators. Why was Rizwan not there for his shift?
The detectives can think of one possible answer.
They kind of inquire, is Rizwan the type of guy that might have an in for his own brother? Would he want to kill his brother off?
She says absolutely not.
If you ask the wife, there's just no reason why Rizwan would ever hurt his brother. He loved his brother, they were a team.
Shahabuddin and Rizwan very close.
Shahabuddin's wife viewed Rizwan as somebody who was grateful and thankful for the opportunity that his brother had given him.
She knows in her heart that he's not the killer.
All right, thank you.
The detectives will need more convincing. After talking to Shah's wife, they bring Rizwan in for another round of questioning.
The detectives questioned why didn't he call immediately the first time he went to the shop and nobody answered.
I thought something had come up. Maybe he stepped out.
Rizwan explained to the detectives that he was just confused.
He says it never occurred to him that his brother might be dead or injured.
The detectives are skeptical.
I mean, you have all this security, bulletproof glass and everything. You didn't suspect a robbery?
No, not at first.
Detectives, of course, turned up the heat on Rizwan, trying to understand how come he didn't have a key.
They thought maybe his brother didn't trust him.
Rizwan says that wasn't the case.
Rizwan tried to explain, no, look, we don't have a need for 2 keys because it's open 24/7.
Okay. Well, where were you last night when your brother was in the shop?
Of course, the detectives asked Rizwan, do you have an alibi? And he says, yes, I was home.
He lives with his brother and his wife, and she didn't say anything about him leaving during the night.
But does that mean Rizwan is innocent?
Maybe he wasn't the one who did it. Maybe he was the one who helped set it up.
Had he been asking around, looking for someone to kill his brother?
And maybe someone had heard something?
It was hard for the detectives to believe that no one knew anything about this murder. Because of the restaurant being a staple in the community,
The police put out a $25,000 reward for anyone with information leading to a prosecution.
Within days, the offer appears to pay off.
They got a call from a very well-informed tipster.
They had gotten a number of anonymous tips, but this call was different.
I knew exactly who you're looking for. Because according to the informant, the killer is her cousin.
10 days after police found Shahabuddin Rana stabbed to death in his Washington, D.C. restaurant, the offer of a $25,000 reward produces a possible lead.
Homicide?
A woman has called into the tip line saying she knows who did it.
The informant's name is Trisha Parkinson, and her cousin is Shanika Robinson.
Trisha says that Shanika is the big mastermind of a big plot to kill Shahabuddin.
His brother's wife?
Detectives are a little confused. There's nothing about Shanika that said that she would be a threat.
But her cousin says that everything about Shanika is a lie.
According to Trisha, the marriage between Shanika and Rizwan was a scam.
He just needed a green card.
And after she lost her job in 2008, Shanika was just as desperate.
Shanika had lost her job just due to people being laid off through hard economic times.
It was a devastating financial blow.
At that time, she was like the main caregiver for a lot of people.
Shanika has to take care of her brother who just got out of prison and her terminally ill sister as well.
Shanika was also supporting her boyfriend, a man named Isaiah Genus.
She had to find some way to keep that money coming into the house and taking care of everyone.
Which, according to Shanika's cousin, is where Rizwan and his brother came into play.
My bills are piling up. I just don't know what to do.
Shahabuddin noticed that Shanika was in a bad spot.
Well, maybe we can help each other.
What do you mean, help each other?
Rana's younger brother was here in the United States on a work visa, but he needed more. He needed to be able to stay permanently. And that's when Rana had the idea, well, if you agree to marry my younger brother so that he could get his green card, I will pay you $500 a week.
According to Trisha, Shanika was reluctant to accept Shahabuddin's offer. At first.
Now, she made it very clear she was dating someone else.
That's not a problem. It's only on paper.
Rana said, you're just married on paper. You can have your own life.
Well, okay, if it's only on paper.
Yes, for the immigration.
She didn't have to sleep with his brother. Just go through the immigration process to obtain his green card.
Okay, I'm in.
Trisha says that reassured by Rizwan's brother, Shanika had agreed to the arrangement.
Shanika said, fine, I need $500 a week. Let's do this.
And in October of 2008, Shanika and Rizwan were married.
He just needed a green card.
But she stayed with her boyfriend?
Yeah, everything went just like Shaw said.
In fact, Shanika was able to live in her house separate from Rizwan.
But would the arrangement be enough to secure Rizwan a green card?
About a month prior to this incident, Shanika and her husband, Rana's younger brother, meet with immigration officials.
They separated Rizwan and Shanika into 2 separate rooms, and then they started asking them questions.
But as soon as the interviews began, things had gone horribly wrong.
The stuff was not connecting. It wasn't sounding very believable.
Then they flagged this marriage as a potential sham.
A criminal investigation was likely to follow.
And if they got busted, Shanika will face a $250,000 fine, 5 years in prison, and Rizwan will be deported.
No, the deal's off.
That got Shahabuddin very upset, to the point that Shahabuddin ended the financial relationship.
You're not getting another dime from me.
Shanika can't pay her bills, her rent. She can't take care of her family. So now she's desperate.
I think they were just gonna rob him.
But something went wrong.
I guess.
Trisha says that all she knows is that Shanika's boyfriend Isaiah and brother Leon were both in on the plot.
Trisha says that they asked her to be an alibi and that she was uneasy about all this. She didn't really want to be a part of that.
But according to Trisha, the trio had gone ahead without her.
Trisha explains that on the night of the murder, late that night, Shanika leaves with Leon and Isaiah. They drive off.
And she didn't see them again until the next day.
She seen the 3 of them burning clothes in the backyard, the fire pit.
She didn't know what happened, but she realized that there must be a connection to what happened.
In fact, she claims that Shanika had told her as much.
She's spotted by Shanika. Shanika then explains to her what happened.
And according to Trisha, Shanika had followed up the explanation with a threat.
If you tell anyone, we'll kill you. You got it?
Got it.
Are you sure?
I'm not gonna say anything.
If Trisha is telling the truth, her story could be the key to solving the case.
Thank you.
At this point, police have to follow this lead, and they ultimately do bring Shanika in for questioning.
But when the detectives ask her if she has anything to do with her brother-in-law's death, she denies it.
No, of course not.
Shanika stated that she had no role in this.
That's not what we've heard.
And who told you that?
Trisha.
As soon as she hears that, the denial stops.
She knows that the jig might be up.
Okay, I'll tell you everything.
Grilling 26-year-old Shanika Robinson about the murder of her brother-in-law, Shahabuddin Rana.
Her cousin told police that Shanika's boyfriend Isaiah, and Shanika's brother Leon had killed Shahabuddin.
She said all 3 of them were in cahoots.
She says it all started after Shah paid Shanika to marry his brother Rizwan in an attempt to fool the immigration authorities.
But the interview went bad, which is going to jeopardize his brother getting a green card.
From this point, Shahabuddin communicated he's no longer paying Miss Robinson the $500 a week.
When detectives confront Shanika with Trisha's story, she doesn't deny parts of it.
Shanika told the detective that she and Shahabuddin did have an agreement to obtain $500 a week if she married Rizwan so he can get his immigration status.
It seemed like a good idea. We made easy money.
She wanted this as a quick fix for her financial situation.
But Shanika says that as the all-important interview with immigration approached, Shahabuddin demanded that she and Rizwan do more than just keep up the appearance of a marriage.
He was putting pressure on Shanika to consummate the marriage.
She told the detectives that that's not what she agreed to.
But needing the money, she went along with it.
You slept with him?
Yeah.
That wasn't the only complication.
At some point within this dynamic, she becomes pregnant.
Was it Rizwan's?
No.
She says her boyfriend Isaiah was the father.
Shanika told the detectives she had lost the baby.
But she says somehow Shahabuddin still found out about the pregnancy.
Mr. Rainey is very upset. He's insisting that she stop sleeping with other men.
He told Shanika if she doesn't clean up her act, he's gonna cut her off.
The disastrous interview with immigration came a few weeks later.
Shanika stated after the interview, Shahabuddin called her. He was upset, he was frantic, he was mad.
You're not getting another dime from me.
It's not my fault. What am I supposed to do?
She needed this money.
But according to Shanika, it was Isaiah who urged her to do something about it.
Shanika told the detectives that Isaiah approached her and said, hey, let's go and talk to Shahabuddin.
They would have a talk with Rana about the $500 a week that he promised.
Shanika says she initially hesitated.
According to Shanika, Isaiah is a hothead. She figured that it would escalate.
But Shanika says she'd eventually agreed to give it a try.
Her and Isaiah went to the pizza spot.
Although according to Shanika, only Isaiah had gone inside.
She's telling the detectives that she was ordered and told to stay in the car.
She said that she didn't know what happened inside of the Pizza Mart.
All she says is that Isaiah was in the store for about 15 minutes.
How'd it go?
I handled it.
Thank you.
Isaiah gives her $500.
She says she didn't know anything about the murder until the next morning.
Shanika tells detectives that she thought about calling the authorities, but she was too afraid because she didn't know what would happen to Isaiah.
But detectives suspect Shanika isn't telling them the whole truth.
Shanika is IDing Isaiah as the solo possible perpetrator in all of this. But the detectives know from Trisha's statement that there were 3 people involved in this.
According to Trisha, the third person involved was Shanika's brother, Leon.
Detectives continue to probe, and they give her the information of another person in this, but she didn't want to give up Leon.
It doesn't matter to the detectives, who take Isaiah, Shanika, and Leon into custody.
All 3 are arrested on first-degree felony murder charges.
But Leon and Isaiah refuse to talk.
But will their silence make much difference?
The police execute a search warrant at the home of Shanika, Isaiah, and Leon.
In the backyard, they go to the burn pit, and they realize that the clothes were burned there.
That fits with some of what Trisha told detectives.
Inside the house, the detectives make another intriguing discovery.
They didn't find a murder weapon, but what they found was Shanika's diary.
It was a smoking gun. The idea was to go there and talk, but if talking didn't work, then it was use whatever force necessary to get the money.
She even had a diagram of the layout of the Pizza Mart in her diary.
It shows a premeditated murder by these 3 suspects.
The detectives have no doubt. But will it be enough to convince a jury?
After all, Shanika's pinned the whole thing on Isaiah.
Have a seat here.
They sit down with Isaiah and explain the situation.
Shanika said it's all you, man.
I mean, she can't blame Leon.
Isaiah realized that Shanika and Leon are brother and sister, and they are not going to turn on each other.
Backed into a corner, Isaiah breaks.
Look, that's not what happened.
He did reveal that Shanika was behind the whole thing.
Isaiah said that Shanika was not inside the car. That during the entire attack, she was inside.
She was in the store witnessing the murder the entire time.
Shanika Robinson, pinned the murder of her brother-in-law, Shahabuddin Rana, on him. He's claiming that is the opposite of the truth.
During her interview with detectives, Shanika claimed it was Isaiah and Isaiah alone who killed Shah.
She's the first domino to fall. She gave Isaiah up pretty easily. She knew she had to give someone up.
It was either Isaiah or her brother Leon, who was allegedly also a part of the murder plot.
I was not surprised that Shanika did not mention Leon's name. She was attempting to protect her brother from being implicated in this murder.
There's only one problem with that plan.
Eventually they were going to talk to Isaiah, and Isaiah paints Shanika as the mastermind behind this whole attack.
It was her idea.
Her and Leon idea.
Isaiah indicated to the detectives that yes, it was 3 people, Shanika, Leon, and himself.
He doesn't want to have the full brunt of a whole murder. So he's doing his part to just distance himself.
The rest of Isaiah's story lines up with much of what the detectives have already heard.
Isaiah confirms that Shanika wanted the money that was owed to her.
He tells detectives that it was Shanika's idea in an act of revenge.
Shahabuddin wasn't supposed to die. He was supposed to be roughed up a little bit.
But according to Isaiah, once they were inside the restaurant with Shahabuddin, the plan had gone awry.
Leon just went crazy.
Isaiah said that Leon started stabbing with the knife.
What are you doing?
According to Isaiah, he looked on in shock as Shah struggled with Leon.
Isaiah said that at one point, Leon dropped the knife, and that gave Shahabuddin a chance to kind of escape and run toward the back.
Shahabuddin went and barricaded himself in the back room.
Shanika, please, tell them to stop!
But according to Isaiah, there was no stopping Leon.
Leon was able to break through that barricade and get in.
He found a hammer and used the hammer.
And once in the storeroom, he turned the hammer on Shahabuddin.
To hear Isaiah talk about how this happened, it was so violent.
They weren't about to stop.
Isaiah also indicated that Shanika was involved in the beating and the attack herself.
Shah tried to fight him off, but they was not about to stop.
It was sort of like this. Once they started, they just kept going and kept going and kept going.
Isaiah also admits that he got swept along in the bloodlust.
Then, once they were sure Shahabuddin was dead, Isaiah says they attempted to set his body on fire.
They need a flammable liquid, so they get some from the mini-mart area. They spray it on Shahabuddin's back. They light some matches, which corroborates not just the wounds, but a physical evidence.
Isaiah says that after their attempt to burn Shah's body failed, the trio fled. But not before Shanika got one last bit of payback.
Isaiah said on the way out of the store, it was Shanika who stole the $2,000 out of the register, who took the cigarettes and the cigars.
They leave, they drive back to Shanika's house. They burn their clothes in the backyard.
Which lines up with both what Trisha told the detectives and the charred bits of clothing found during the search warrant.
These are not details that have been released to the public at this point. So we know that Isaiah was there.
After his confession, Isaiah pleads guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree murder.
He's sentenced to 20 years in prison in exchange for his testimony against Shanika and her brother.
When the siblings go on trial in July of 2011, Isaiah takes the stand and tells the whole story to the jury.
He was very graphic in his description about what happened that day. It was such a horrific testimony, but it was key. And he talked about repeatedly that this was Shanika's idea.
When it's the defense's turn, Leon's attorneys claim that Isaiah was lying to save himself.
Leon got on the stand and he said it was all Isaiah, that he had nothing to do with this, that he was never at the Pizza Mart.
But when Shanika takes the stand, her testimony takes an unexpected turn.
She decides to rat on her brother and, blame everything on him.
Shanika basically said that it was Leon and Isaiah. It was their plan.
Leon was shocked. Not only was he shocked that his sister is betraying him, he's completely stunned by this entire situation.
Will her betrayal pay off when the jury delivers its verdict?
Leon Robinson is found guilty of first-degree murder. Shockingly, Shanika is found guilty of second-degree murder.
Leon got 76 years. His sister, Shanika, she got 56 years. That's 20 years less than her brother, and she pulled them all into this.
I'm guessing some people were sympathetic to her backstory, this arranged marriage, and how she felt like she was prostituting herself.
But that doesn't mean what Shanika did was right.
At the end of the day, Shahabuddin.
This program documents actual homicide investigations. Criminal charges are often dropped or reduced, and all suspects shown are presumed innocent unless proven guilty.
After multiple relationships ending in failure, she was looking for the right man to spend her life with.
She's trying to find people that will give her the love that she so greatly desires.
Eventually, she met a man that was just as gorgeous as she was.
She thought there's still hope for me, and I'm gonna seize this moment.
But a violent encounter turns her fairy tale romance into a horror story.
Her body was found in a ditch.
There are numerous stab wounds.
Whoever did this wanted to make sure that she suffered.
The search for a suspect leads detectives in multiple directions.
She was involved with a lot of different romantic interests.
Did arguments ever get physical?
Yeah, but that happens sometimes.
They couldn't have a civil conversation. It was very volatile.
I'll be telling you, be careful who you're dealing with.
He is an individual that sort of has put himself in a savior position.
But would her savior eventually become her downfall?
There's a thin line between love and hate.
She's cursing at me. You don't have this, you don't have that.
Over time, you start to need the high. It's like having the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder.
I believe that she was possessed by some demon.
It's a warm Sunday morning in Delray Beach, a quaint coastal town along Florida's Atlantic shore.
Delray Beach is actually a much different vibe than some of your more common places in South Florida. Delray Beach is a much slower pace.
You see people fishing, you see the boats in the canals. That's kind of what people are about, just the natural beauty, the relaxation, the water.
But around 9 a.m. this morning, a local resident is traveling along a remote stretch of road when he spots something unusual.
He noticed something that looked suspicious in a ditch. And as he got closer, he did realize that it was a young lady.
He sees her laying in the grass, unresponsive, and, he's not sure what's wrong. He contacts 911.
First responders race to the location.
Protocol when someone's unresponsive is to get to the scene as soon as possible because there's a possibility that person still could be alive.
They had no idea if this woman was having a medical issue or what was going on.
When Palm Beach County deputies arrive on the scene, they quickly realize they're too late to help the young woman.
The police get there, and it becomes immediately apparent that obviously she is deceased.
Her body was cold to the touch, so police knew that she had been dead for some time.
At that point, you realize there's no saving this person. Now your job is to preserve the scene.
And as deputies begin to secure the area, they notice something lying near the woman's body.
There was a wallet on the ground next to the body, and inside of that wallet, police found a ID card.
They quickly identified who she was.
Her name was Vanessa Williams.
28-year-old single mother Vanessa Williams had a smile that could light up a room.
She was this beautiful young lady.
She was very social and enjoyed spending time with her friends.
Ambitious and caring to her core, Vanessa had always dreamed of becoming a therapist. But a relationship from her teenage years with a handsome classmate named Nate Tyler had taken her on a different path.
They were high school sweethearts who were very much in love.
Vanessa was so certain that they would go the distance that she even got Nate's name tattooed on her neck. But when she got pregnant, it caused a lot of friction between the two of them.
The stress of teenage parenthood was too much for their relationship to bear, and the couple parted ways soon after the birth of their son.
On her own, as a single parent, she resolved to give her son the best life she could manage. But she kind of had to put her dreams of becoming a therapist on hold.
She was a wonderful mom.
Vanessa managed to finish school while juggling motherhood. But instead of going to college, she jumped into a relationship with a new partner, a man named Stuart Bird.
After graduating from high school, she pretty immediately fell in love with another man from town. They moved in together, and he started helping her with her son.
Well, hey there. How was work?
Oh, busy.
Stuart seemed like someone who would take care of her. He had a lot of love for his family, and that was something that Vanessa really appreciated about him.
They talked about getting married and having kids together.
But it was another union that wasn't meant to last.
Their relationship eventually became a little bit toxic.
They split up after 3 years together.
By her mid-20s, Vanessa once again found herself struggling as a single mom.
She went on with her life, trying to pick up the pieces, but she never gave up on love.
She's trying to find different people that will give her the love she so greatly desires. And she's meeting disappointment after disappointment with the types of men that she's involved with.
Finally, in 2011, Vanessa met a man who seemed different from the rest.
Excuse me, miss?
Yeah.
I think you dropped this.
Oh, thank you.
John Chapman was a handsome military veteran, young, fit, knew how to present himself.
They were two very good-looking young people who immediately were attracted to one another.
I don't mean to be too forward, but do you think I can get your phone number?
Sure. Yeah.
As they got to know each other over the coming weeks, John and Vanessa realized they were both looking for the same things in life.
John wanted a big family. He wanted kids. They realized maybe we could build this life together.
So I've never really been with somebody who's felt like a life partner. I've always ended up alone.
Those days are over. I promise.
He was Prince Charming for her. So she and John Chapman fell in love. They started dating.
Vanessa felt like she'd finally found a relationship that would last.
Things were going really well for Vanessa this time around.
With John's help at home, she was able to focus a little bit more on herself. She was working as a medical assistant during the day and taking classes at night so that she could work towards her dreams of becoming a therapist.
But now, Instead of seeing her dreams come true, Vanessa Williams has been found dead in a secluded area of Palm Beach County.
Police quickly went into trying to find out what had happened to this beautiful young lady.
They weren't sure if this was some sort of accident or if she was out walking when maybe she suffered some type of medical emergency.
When detectives arrive on the scene, they move in for a closer look at Vanessa's body.
When the police turn over the body, there are numerous stab wounds on her face, on her neck, on her back.
Vanessa was stabbed over 23 times. Whoever did this wanted to make sure that she suffered bad.
Williams finally found a man to stand by her side.
You have John as this military man, and he looks refined, and he's showing himself in a way that, hey, I'm strong and I can protect you. And this is the kind of strength that she's looking for.
The happy couple was looking forward to a bright future together. But now, Vanessa has been found dead on the side of a remote road in Palm Beach County.
It's the beginning of the investigation. They don't have all the information, but from what they've seen so far, this appears to be gruesome, violent.
They were able to determine that Vanessa had been stabbed 23 times.
The question now is, why?
They find money, they find jewelry. Her chain is still on her.
The fact those property pieces that were still there with her indicated not a robbery.
They believe that this is a personal attack. This was someone who had malice and anger, and they took it out on Vanessa Williams.
However, due to a lack of blood pooling, investigators suspect that the violent stabbing didn't happen here.
Law enforcement concludes that she must have been killed somewhere else and brought to this location.
It almost looked like there was an intent to try and hide her location, maybe a hasteful attempt at best.
There are other things there that indicate that they left in a hurry. They see an indentation from where a tire was. They find a flip-flop.
It looked like when Vanessa's body was dragged out of whatever vehicle it was in, all this other debris got dragged out with her.
One item in particular stands out to the investigators.
They find a floor mat from a vehicle that's soaked in blood, and they really want to know whose blood is this? Does this belong to the victim?
It's also potential evidence for DNA from the assailant. Most stabbings or cuttings, the person who is the attacker will typically injure themselves.
Detectives spot another crucial piece of evidence left behind by Vanessa's killer.
They find a wooden-handled knife that looks like it could be the murder weapon.
After the evidence is bagged and sent out for testing, Vanessa's body is transported to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy.
Judging by the degree of lividity in Vanessa's body, the medical examiner believes that she had been dead for about 24 hours.
Lividity is the accumulation of the blood in the lower extremities of the body.
A blood test reveals another surprising new piece of information, that at the time of her death, Vanessa had a street drug known as Flocka in her system.
Flocka came in, I believe, around 2015, 2014 in the Florida area here. There was a lot of reports of crazy behavior, zombie-like behavior, aggressiveness, extreme strength.
Flocka took bath salts and it was manipulated, and it gave you a much more intense high and hallucinations, and anybody could pretty much get their hands on it.
Immediately, law enforcement are thinking that maybe this was some drug deal gone wrong. Maybe this was a drug user who had crossed someone.
Armed with this new information, detectives begin trying to learn more about who their victim was.
One of the things that they observed that the medical examiner told them about was that there is a tattoo on the back of Vanessa's neck, and the name of that tattoo was Nate.
Vanessa's social media appears to confirm that she had a man in her life around the time she died. But his name isn't Nate. It's John Chapman.
One of the first places police look is to the boyfriend. He is a former military guy, someone that police can identify with.
When police spoke with John, he was devastated to find out what had happened to his girlfriend. He said that she was a wonderful mom, a great person.
John strikes the detectives as sad, but not especially surprised.
I was afraid something like this might happen.
He said she had some habits that she had fallen into, involving drugs and alcohol.
John tells the police that Vanessa's drug use had been getting worse lately. A lot worse.
It started out, I just had a long day at work, and I just need a little something to take the edge off. But over time, you start to need the high.
Vanessa had her struggles. And with her having children, with her having the responsibility of being a mother, of being a partner, trying to co-parent, there are certain things that contributed to her drug use.
Vanessa, seriously? This is getting way out of hand.
John Chapman told them that Vanessa had been out of control, and in one of those drug and alcohol-fueled incidents, she left.
How about you stop telling me how to live my life?
He said she had taken off without telling him where she was going.
He tried to call her to figure out where she was. He couldn't get in contact with her.
I thought that I was going to be able to see her again, but...
Do you know anyone that might want to hurt her? Drug dealer, ex-boyfriend?
I know she had issues with her ex.
John actually shared with police that Vanessa's relationship with Stewart was extremely toxic. They couldn't have a civil conversation. It was very volatile.
They had some mutual friends and would run into each other from time to time. And Stewart would always try to weasel his way back in.
She couldn't fully get away from this guy.
And according to John Chapman, Stewart Bird had a history of domestic violence against Vanessa Williams. He had attacked her in the past, and of course, John felt like he would do it again.
I didn't trust her, and I know she didn't either.
He told the police that that's the place where they should start looking.
John was adamant that Stewart Bird had something to do with this.
Vanessa Williams' boyfriend, John Chapman, has just told Palm Beach County Police that she was battling drug addiction in the months before she was murdered.
Vanessa was a mom, a student, a healthcare worker, and unfortunately, she had turned to substances to deal with all of the stressors in her life.
Before you know it, we're self-medicating. And so where someone may say, that could never be me, before you know it, it is you.
According to John, Vanessa had been behaving increasingly erratically in the weeks before she was killed. And shortly before her body was discovered, she'd complained about running into her ex, Stewart Bird.
After getting this information, police immediately went into the background of Stewart, and they discovered that he had an extensive record. He had burglary, domestic strangulation, grand theft, and child abuse.
At that moment, Stewart Bird became suspect number one.
But when detectives bring Stewart in for questioning, he seems shocked.
Stewart denied having any responsibility for killing Vanessa.
What? No. Listen, y'all have the wrong guy.
However, he does acknowledge there were moments in their 3-year relationship he's not proud of.
He admitted that things got pretty heated between them.
Did arguments ever get physical between the two of you?
Yeah. But that happens sometimes.
With that relationship, there was domestic violence.
It shows his ability, his possibility of creating a violent scenario with Vanessa.
They want to know, where were you on the night of April the 18th?
According to Stewart, he has an alibi for the night Vanessa was killed.
Stuart Bird tells them, well, I was working all night. He gives them the name of his employer.
You can call my supervisor right now. He'll tell you.
Police were able to contact his employer, who confirmed that Stewart was definitely at work on the night that Vanessa was murdered. So now they're back to square one.
Eager to drum up new leads, police shift their focus to the people who knew Vanessa best.
Vanessa's parents lived about an hour away in Miami, and while they were still grieving the loss of their daughter, they were ready to talk to detectives.
Vanessa's parents were devastated. It is extremely heartbreaking as a parent to know that your child was killed.
Vanessa's parents tell detectives that their daughter had a long history of troubled relationships.
I always tell them, men wants only your money and something else.
Right.
And I be telling them, be careful who you're dealing with.
So in cases like this, either you have a lot of suspects or you have nobody. And this case had a lot of suspects. She was involved with a lot of different romantic interests.
Vanessa's parents also confirm what John Chapman said in his interview about Vanessa's rampant drug use.
She went use the drugs.
You know what kind of drugs? Cocaine?
I don't know. That I don't know.
She was dealing with a lot. It's like having the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder. I have my responsibilities, but I don't know how to cope.
Vanessa's parents say the last time they saw their daughter was about a week ago when she stopped by for a surprise visit.
What time was that? Around 5 something. 5:30.
What kind of car did she have?
She didn't have a car. She said it's her friend's car. She was driving a truck.
What kind of truck?
White, I think white, I don't know if it's a Ford.
The truck was alleged to have belonged to Corey Summers, a friend of hers.
But other than Corey's name, Vanessa's parents know nothing about him.
I met her once.
Okay.
After Vanessa left in Corey's truck, her parents never heard from her again.
I started texting her, but I never had no response from her.
Did you call her after that? Did you ever, after that point, talk to her again?
Never.
Based on this information, investigators want to speak with Corey Summers as soon as possible.
The question now was, did Corey have a reason to want Vanessa dead?
Their parents, Florida detectives, have learned that Vanessa Williams was last seen driving her friend Corey Summers' truck around the time she was killed.
Did you ever, after that point, talk to her again?
Never.
When detectives reach out to Corey Summers, they're surprised to hear he's been waiting for a call from law enforcement.
Have you been phone?
What's that?
Anyone phone?
Corey thought the police were calling about his truck, the one that he had allegedly let Vanessa borrow.
Corey explains that he's a long-haul trucker who'd been out on the road until a few days earlier.
When he came back from one of his long-haul trips on April 17th, his truck was missing. There was a police report made.
When detectives explain they're calling under graver circumstances, Corey seems grief-stricken.
Here's the deal. We're working a homicide investigation. Vanessa's dead.
I don't believe it.
He agrees to come into the police station to give an official statement.
Corey confirmed that he and Vanessa were friends, and he said he allowed her to stay at his place after she and her boyfriend John got into a huge argument about her drug use.
she asked me to stay. I told her okay, because I don't hardly ever be home.
He says that Vanessa has stayed with me from time to time. I've allowed her to crash here when she's needed to. I'll see her, and then I'll go out on the road for several days, and then I'll come back.
Corey insists the relationship between them was entirely platonic.
One of the things I gotta ask you, were you intimate at all, you and her?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay.
Corey, he is an individual that sort of has put himself in a savior position. He tries to help people. He's trying to help Vanessa, trying to give her a place to stay.
They had an arrangement where Corey would allow Vanessa to use his pickup truck while he was out on the road.
She doesn't have the transportation to get and back and forth from work.
Okay.
So I told her to use my truck. Just be careful with it.
But the last time he got home, Corey says Vanessa and his truck were gone.
Vanessa was missing, and his apartment was in shambles, as if there had been a struggle or fight going on in there.
I know she had company, but I don't know who she had there.
He didn't know what happened. He tried to reach out to her. He couldn't get in contact with her.
In speaking with Corey, he seemed to be very forthcoming, very cooperative, very willing to help the police, but they are not sure if they are able to trust him.
Again, I gotta ask you this, because if it comes out later on, I want to make sure we're clear. Did you guys have any intimate relationship between you two?
A long time ago.
When was that?
That was months ago.
But before you told me that you didn't.
We're not really sure if there's a relationship there. Maybe, maybe not. So you have to look at that. Was he jealous?
But Corey insists he wasn't even in the same state at the time when police believe Vanessa was killed.
I was in Georgia.
You were in Jersey?
Georgia.
At the end of the interview, Corey agrees to turn his cell phone over to police.
We need your phone just to make sure everything checks out.
Sure, okay.
And while it's sent out for analysis, detectives track down the last name on their list. The father of Vanessa's oldest son, Nate Tyler.
Although he and Vanessa broke up years ago, they were still on good terms for the sake of their son.
They were extremely close, although they were only platonic.
And according to Nate, the last time he saw Vanessa, she'd confided in him that she was struggling.
You know, she had been telling me things weren't going well with John, her boyfriend. And she'd been staying with some other guy, Corey, I think. Yeah, we've already talked to Corey.
Nate tells the investigators that on another occasion, he'd witnessed the tension between Vanessa and John firsthand.
There was an incident that Nate shared with police where they were all hanging out and something transpired that really ticked John off to the extent that he started throwing furniture, became vulgar, got very violent.
It was shocking, you know? It happened out of nowhere.
Did Vanessa say these type of outbursts happen often?
Yeah, she did.
She told him that John was abusive, that John would fly off the handle for different reasons.
She confided in Nate about all of the threatenings, the stalkings, the verbal abuse, the beatings that she was getting.
Based on what they're hearing from Nate, detectives have to wonder, has John been misleading them all along?
At this point, getting out there, finding John, and getting face-to-face with John is very important.
But when detectives try to bring John Chapman in for another round of questioning, they quickly hit a roadblock.
They'd say, we gotta pick this guy up and talk to him again. But there's only one problem. He's gone. He's on the run.
In the spring of 2015, Palm Beach County investigators have had no shortage of suspects in the murder of 28-year-old Vanessa Williams. So far, they've spoken with her ex, Stuart Bird, close friend, Corey Summers, and even her high school sweetheart, Nate Tyler. But unfortunately, all three men seem to have airtight alibis.
Thanks to phone records, police were able to confirm that their 3 prior suspects had not been in the area at the time Vanessa was murdered.
Stewart was confirmed to be at work, and Corey in Georgia. And Nate was out of town visiting some friends.
However, in speaking with Nate Tyler, investigators have unearthed a new suspect, a man they're already familiar with, Vanessa's most recent boyfriend, John Chapman.
According to Nate, Vanessa had confided in him about her very tumultuous relationship with John.
John had been abusing her, both physically and verbally.
She was trying to get away from John. She was trying to cut ties with him.
He conducted himself in a way that was reckless, dangerous, and possibly deadly.
Detectives want to speak with John Chapman again as soon as possible, but they'll have to find him first.
He's gone. He's on the run.
He wasn't at home or at work. He wasn't answering his phone.
Detectives think John may be traveling in Corey Summers' missing pickup truck. And before long, they receive a promising tip about the stolen vehicle's location.
There was actually an APB put out on Corey's truck, and they found it in front of the home of a Lana Palmer.
Lana Palmer is alleged to have been romantically involved with John Chapman. They had an on-again, off-again relationship between the two of them.
By the time police respond, the truck is gone.
They go in there, no John Chapman, but they do find Lana Palmer.
Can I help you?
When they questioned Lana about the truck in front of her home, she admitted that John had come by.
The last time that she saw John Chapman, on April the 18th, he came there driving a white truck, clothes covered in blood.
John? Oh my God, what did you do?
He was very bloody. He looked like he had been through just too much. And showing up to her home, asking for refuge, if you will.
She asked him, "What happened, John?"
He said he'd been fighting with someone. I could tell he was lying, though.
Baby, I had to defend myself.
He told her that he had gotten into a fight with one of Vanessa's ex-boyfriends. She didn't believe the story, but since he was acting so weird, she just allowed him to come inside, take a shower, and clean up.
Okay, just go rinse all that off, please.
But after John washed up, Lana witnessed more strange behavior from him.
She saw him take a SIM card out of a phone and rip it in half.
She realized that there was something awry here, and the story that he was given just didn't line up.
I don't know what you're up to, but I want you out. Told him to get out, and he did.
Do you have any idea where he may have went?
No, not a clue.
She said he took his things and he left.
Lana insists she hasn't seen or heard from John since that night. And with no other leads on their suspect's location, investigators are back at square one.
They start to intensify their efforts to find him because the clock is ticking.
As an investigator, you need to get to John as soon as possible.
Police reached out to law enforcement agencies in the surrounding areas to be on the lookout for John. They also enlisted the aid of the U.S. Marshals to help look for him.
Soon, their efforts pay off.
Eventually, they got a tip that the truck had been seen in Miami.
The tip led them to an apartment complex where they found the truck parked outside.
And inside the truck, police make an alarming discovery.
There's blood everywhere.
Based on the amount of blood, police believe that this may be where Vanessa was killed.
They found a green purse that they thought must have belonged to Vanessa, as well as a flip-flop that matched the one found at the body's dump site.
Now more than ever, investigators know they need to track down John Chapman.
Investigators go door to door looking for John Chapman. They don't find him anywhere. But what they do discover is near to that apartment complex is a homeless shelter.
Inside the homeless shelter, police finally locate John.
As he's getting dressed, they take him into custody. The police have their man.
Back in Palm Beach, detectives are eager to sit down with their #1 suspect.
They immediately started peppering him with questions about what had happened to Vanessa, and to their surprise, he didn't hold back.
Vanessa was, she wasn't herself at all. I had to kill her.
John finally confessed to the murder.
But that's not all he says.
He tells them that it was in self-defense. He said she attacked him with a knife.
I believe that she was possessed by some demon.
Of his 28-year-old girlfriend, Vanessa Williams.
They take him into custody, and they start to question him.
Now in the interrogation room, John has just made a stunning confession.
She wasn't herself at all. I had to kill her.
He tells them that it was in self-defense.
I would hate to say that I'm a spiritual person, okay, but I believe that she was possessed by some demon.
John tells the investigators it all started when he went to see Vanessa at Corey Summers' house on the night of April 18th.
Let's start with what led to this. Drugs.
He showed up at Corey's place to discuss their relationship and found her out of her mind on drugs.
When I got there, I realized that there was a lot of meth in the carpet.
Vanessa, what the hell are you doing?
He found Vanessa Williams searching the carpet for Flocka flakes.
He said now that he realized how deep in addiction she is, he realizes that he no longer wants to be with Vanessa.
John, can you help me?
He says it disgusted him that Vanessa Williams' drug use was so out of control.
John tells detectives he was ready to leave soon after arriving, but he was stranded.
He'd gotten dropped off at Corey's house, so he needed a ride back home.
I just wanted that ride back to Cape Coral. And I'm like, hey, let's have fun. Let's go ahead and let's hit it back to Cape Coral. Let's party. When you say that, with drugs, everything? Yeah.
John, with his narcissistic personality, realized that Vanessa was battling an addiction, and he was using that to control her.
On the drive to Cape Coral, the couple stopped to get some fast food. But as the sun set and they finished their meal, they got into a tense argument in the restaurant parking lot.
John was upset with Vanessa about her drug use, and Vanessa was upset with John in regards to the way he had been treating her in the relationship.
She's cursing at me, telling me, you don't have this, you don't have that.
Eventually, John says he had enough.
I really just wanted her to feel what I felt. I don't know how else to say it. I just really, I pulled her hair, and it was just gonna be like a tussle. Right. But what I didn't notice that she had me trapped with a little small knife.
He said she tried to attack him.
He had to wrestle the knife away from her.
When she went for that, I hit her right on top of the head. Okay. And I was like, don't you dare do that. And then, honestly, I snapped.
He became completely overwhelmed with rage.
It was quick and it was angry. You know how many times you snapped? More than once.
The problem with that story is as soon as he got the knife away from her, there was no threat anymore. You don't go back and plunge it 20 other more times in her chest after you take control of the knife.
And instead of getting help, he dumped her body on the side of a remote road where he thought that no one would be able to tie the crime back to him.
John blames his military experience for the extreme violence of his attack.
John is claiming he went into defense mode as though he was still in the military.
My training kicks in. Okay. all the emotions locked into robotic.
My Army training kicked in. It's not an excuse to kill someone. Besides that, John admitted he started the physical altercation. So in reality, Vanessa was the one defending herself when she grabbed that knife.
John Chapman, at the end of their investigation, was booked and charged for murder.
At trial in January of 2018, the jury agrees with investigators. John's murder of Vanessa can't be chalked up to self-defense.
In the end, his self-defense was not bought by the jury. They found him guilty of second-degree murder, and the judge sentenced him to 48 years in prison.
John was very lucky that he was not sentenced to death and that he wound up being convicted with second-degree murder. That was because in the state of Florida, if it's a crime of passion, you can get second-degree murder.
Vanessa Williams will never get the chance to see what her future might have been, all because of the rage of John Chapman.
Vanessa was trying to turn her life around and have a better future for herself and her children.
Vanessa may not have been the perfect person, but she was really doing her best and trying to get back to a good place.
John Chapman was deceiving to many, and unfortunately, he deceived Vanessa Williams into thinking he was a good and decent person, someone she could build a family with, someone she should have a relationship with. And unfortunately, it cost her her life.